one of those changes that must be sustained, of course, and that was one of the learnings that I got out of Brian's presentation, where he focused quite a bit on the sustainment. So what does the research say on sustainment? What we have to do a lot of is communicate the value of the process, the value of the way of doing it. It's quite important. Continuous training, I mentioned that earlier, came out as a really big one. And these two are kind of, I think we've already spoken about them. So the research, I think, is reflecting, the usual suspects. That's what I call them. The usual suspects. If you want to sustain this, you must measure it, produce the right measurements, and I don't think we've got that wrapped up. Coach is very important. You got to coach it all the time, govern it. Okay, those stand up. But there were multiple tactics that were being used in this transition to it. So what does the above suggest to me? It's a big change. Going agile is not incremental. It's radical. It's a big change, so we must be ready. So we must have the plan for it from a change management point of view. We must be willing, and the will, I see that in terms of the resources being promised to it and given to it, committed, and able the structure so that we as change managers get into the agile structure and become part of it and are prepared to change our way of doing things to fit that framework. Another big one that came out for me, engage every affected and impacted group. That also is borne out in the research, top to bottom. But what also came out, which was a new one in a sense for me, plus the non-affected stakeholders. So when I look at that, put that together, the affected plus the non-affected, what are we doing? Align the culture.